Good morning, everyone. Good morning. This morning, I wanted to offer a tribute to the beloved Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, who is also known as Thay. Thay is the Vietnamese word for teacher. And as you probably know, Thich Nhat Hanh, Thay, left his earthly form about 2 weeks ago, January 22nd. And when I heard that news, I was actually on a walk with a friend. I was meeting a friend for a walk, and he told me that news, and I had such a big heart reaction. I had to just stop, and my heart just kind of felt this explosion. And because I have so much love for him as one of the most important spiritual teachers in my life. And I know that he has been a very important teacher to so many of you, to so many in this world. And he was an important teacher to many, whether you were Buddhist or not. You know, his teachings were so universal. He had a worldwide impact over 70 years, One of the people he impacted was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who nominated Thay for the Nobel Peace Prize back in the 1960s when Thay was protesting the war in Vietnam, his home country. And Dr. King called him an apostle of peace and nonviolence. And in my opinion, he should have won that prize 10 times over because he was peace embodied. He was peace embodied. About peace, Thay wrote, "By the way we live our daily life, we contribute to peace or war. It is mindfulness that can tell me I am going in the direction of war. And it is the energy of mindfulness that can help me make a turn to go in the direction of peace." The Dalai Lama said of Thich Nhat Hanh that he shows us the connection between personal peace, inner peace, and peace on earth, world peace. And what some people don't know about Thay is that he studied comparative religion at Princeton. He had a scholarship to Princeton, to the seminary at Princeton. And then soon after that, he taught Buddhism at Columbia University. And on one of the occasions that I got to be with Thay, it was in Berkeley, and it was just 2 days after 9/11 happened. And, I had planned to go for many months. And fortunately, Thay was already in the country because, as you remember, all the planes were grounded for a while after 9/11. But I remember that period of time. I remember 9/11. We were all in shock. We were all in fear. The next day, I did a special healing service here in Mount Shasta. We did a lot of prayers and a lot of chanting. And then the next day, I drove to UC Berkeley, where he was giving his talk, his Dharma talk, with a friend of mine. We drove down there. And I'll never forget sitting in the audience when Thay walked out onto the stage. His very steps began to bring me peace. He was peace. And his group of monks joined him on the stage, and they brought that same energy of peace as they walked out on the stage. And his Dharma talk that night was the most powerful Dharma talk I have ever heard to this day, because the need was so great. The need was so great that it brought forth such a powerful talk on truth. And I just really recognized that evening he was a living Buddha, a living master, and he was helping us at such a critical time of need. And he transmitted such peace to us. There were about, I think, 4,000 or so of us in the audience, and I could feel this mass collective sigh of relief. I could feel everyone relaxing and releasing the energies of fear and shock. And I felt the presence of loving kindness and truth returning to us all collectively. And I recently found an article where he was talking about how he was in California during 9/11, and he described giving that very talk that I attended. And this is what he said. He said, "I reminded everyone that responding to hatred with hatred will only cause hatred to multiply 1,000-fold, and that only with compassion, can we transform hatred and anger. I invited them to go home to themselves and practice mindful breathing and mindful walking to calm their strong emotions and to allow lucidity to prevail. Only when we understand can compassion arise. When the drop of compassion begins to form in our hearts and in our minds, we can begin to develop concrete responses to a situation. Great spiritual teachers, they always turn us back towards love. They always help us remember our true nature again and again. And Thay often said that we can go home to ourselves with mindful breathing. Breathing in, I have arrived. Breathing out, I am home. Breathing in, I have arrived. Breathing out, I am home. This was a simple mantra I learned from Thay in one of the walking meditations that he teaches at his retreats. And this week I've returned to saying this particular mantra when I walk. And because I walk fairly fast, I breathe in and I say arrived for 4 steps, and then I breathe out and say home for about 5 steps. I notice the out-breath's a little longer. So arriving home means I'm here and now. I'm here now. In this moment, I am present. I am here with you, both in my body and my mind. My body and mind are aligned. They are one. They are here together. And mindfulness is such an important practice because so often our mind and our body are not together. Like, for example, have you ever noticed maybe you're watching a movie and you get yourself a bowl of ice cream, and you sit back down on the couch and you're watching the movie and you're deeply engrossed in the drama, and all of a sudden you look down and the ice cream's gone, and you didn't really experience it. You didn't really enjoy it because your mind is in the movie, not in the ice cream. So that would be a good example of not being mindful. So Thay's teachings, so many of his teachings, they really center around mindfulness. And he says of mindfulness that mindfulness is the energy of being aware and awake to the present. It is the continuous practice of touching life deeply in every moment. He showed us how to practice being aware and awake while walking, while sitting, while working, while eating, while talking, doing the dishes, going to the bathroom, brushing your teeth, answering the phone. He taught that we can always be mindful. Every second we can be mindful. When you watch Thay walk, or when you watched Thay walk, he was like a soft cloud of peace, a moving soft cloud of peace. Another story I remember I was at a retreat with him in Oakland, Merritt Lake, I think it was, and that morning of the retreat we had been singing and chanting. And Thay loves to write chants. He's written many chants. And so I had such a desire in my heart to give him a couple of my chanting CDs. Back then I had just released a new one, and I just thought he might enjoy it. And because our retreat was out by the lake and I was sitting right up front close to the stage, as we went on a break, I walked up to him as he was walking off the stage. And I remember it so well. As I walked towards him, I practiced walking meditation. And each step and each breath was one of peace. And he walked towards me, of course, like a floating cloud of peace. And when I got to him, I just shared, some words of such deep appreciation and gratitude for all his teachings and his gift of presence in my life. And then I stretched out my hands and I shared that I had, composed these chants, and that they were chants that I had written that I thought he would enjoy. And he stretched out his hands and he received those 2 CDs as if they were precious gems. And he looked at me and he smiled, and his smile was like the sun. And he said, "I will listen to them this evening." And with that, we bowed and we both drifted apart, walking away like clouds of peace. But I have to say that smile and those words and that love and that energy of enlightened consciousness affected me so much that I was really in bliss for days. My consciousness just felt so expanded from the enormous blessing of his presence, because he was so present. And, the blessing, that I just felt the blessing was that he completely was present as love, as consciousness, and he received the offerings from my heart so fully that it really made me feel seen in my truest light. And so this, I feel like is the essence of his teaching, that we be fully present for one another, that we be fully present. One of the teachings I've shared for many years in many of my retreats has been the 4 mantras. He has 4 mantras of loving speech, which are ways of being more present for one another. And they help us drop into our hearts. They help us meet heart to heart in loving kindness. And the first mantra is, "I am here for you. I am here for you." I just love that. I mean, that means so much for us to hear that and feel that. I am here for you. The second mantra is, "I know you are there and I am very happy." I know you are there and I am very happy. It's a way of acknowledging the other person's presence and being happy and celebrating it and letting them know that. And then the third mantra is, "I know you suffer and that's why I'm here for you." This is so important. Sometimes people just need us to acknowledge that they're suffering. I know you suffer, and that's why I'm here for you. Very powerful. And then the fourth mantra, "I suffer, please help." I suffer, please help. I think that's a hard one for us sometimes to be willing to say, to be willing to just say, "I'm suffering, please help." We think we have to be so strong and just carry the load, But sometimes it's so relieving to say, "I suffer, please help," and ask for help in that way. And of course, he prefaces each of those mantras with the word "darling." "Darling, I am here for you," which is very endearing. In that 60-second meeting that I had with him at that retreat, he embodied those words, "I am here for you. I am here for you." Fully present, smiling, kind, and awake. So I would like to suggest that we memorize these mantras and offer them to the people we care about, and take the time to say, "I am here for you," or maybe if someone is struggling, say, "I know you're suffering and I'm here for you." So Thay's teachings show us how we can be more present with each other. And he taught how we can be present with the earth and the wonder of the natural world. He loved walking meditation. When we walked with him in retreat, it was a little challenging for me because he walks really slow. I had to slow way down, which was good for me. In my retreats over the last 30 years, I have everyone do walking meditation together. And that meditation that we just did, in, out, deep, slow, calm, ease, smile, release, present moment, wonderful moment, is actually a song. It's one of the songs from Thich Nhat Hanh and the Plum Village. So maybe another Sunday we'll sing it. But the simplest form of walking meditation, if you just want to begin, if it's not something that you're familiar with, is to imagine you're planting a lotus with each step, and that it blossoms as you lift your foot off the ground. Because when we walk in this way, we become aware of each footstep meeting the ground. And we feel that we are blessing the earth, and we also feel the earth blessing us. We really feel our connection with the earth when we imagine each step is planting a lotus and the lotus is blossoming. About walking meditation, Thay wrote, "We walk all the time, but usually it's more like running. Our hurried steps print anxiety and sorrow on the earth. If we can take one step in peace, we can take 2, 3, 4, and then 5 steps for the peace and happiness of humankind and the earth." And Thay even had a practice for those who couldn't walk, who could not walk. He suggested that they choose to watch a person who was walking in meditation, and in watching them, become one with them, following their steps in mindfulness. And in that way, make peaceful steps together with the person that's walking. You might know that Thay had a stroke back in 2014. And he was not able to walk after that, but he would still often go with his group of monks and nuns on walking meditations in his wheelchair. But I love that teaching of watching and becoming one with a person walking in peace. We can actually do that. We can actually do the same thing watching, say, an Olympic skater. Feeling the incredible feeling of that. I was watching the Olympics last night, late, the skating. Or we can watch an eagle fly. We can watch ducks peacefully swimming on the lake. We can feel the beingness that we are in all forms, and not just this one form we inhabit. When Thay passed on January 22nd, everyone was posting his teachings on Facebook, which was so beautiful. And they still are, but there were just, at least my circle of friends, they were all posting Thich Nhat Hanh, which was so wonderful. And you could feel how his presence and teachings live on, and how we are a part of his continuation body by sharing and practicing his teachings. Even in his dying, he offered so much teaching. Thay once said, "I have a disciple in Vietnam who wants to build a stupa for my ashes when I die. He and others want to put a plaque with the words, 'Here lies my beloved teacher.' I told them not to waste the temple land. 'Do not put me in a small pot and put me there,' I said. 'I don't want to continue like that. It would be better to scatter the ashes outside to help the trees grow.' And I suggested that if they still insist on building a stupa, that they have the plaque say, 'I am not in here.' But in case people don't get it, they could add a second plaque, 'I am not out there either.' If people still don't understand, then you can write on the third and last plaque, 'I may be found in the way, I may be found in your way of breathing and walking. I may be found in your way of breathing and walking.' He said, this body of mine will disintegrate, but my actions will continue me. In my daily life, I always practice to see my continuation all around me. If you think that I am only this body, then you have not truly seen me. When you look at my friends, you see my continuation. When you see someone walking with compassion, you know he is my continuation." In sharing his teachings today, in breathing in calm and breathing out with ease, I am part of his continuation body, as you are when you speak and walk with peace. What he is and has always been continues. What I am will continue. What you are will continue. And Thay taught, Thay had a really powerful teaching on this. He taught that there were 2 dimensions of reality, the historical and the ultimate. And he uses the analogy of a wave in water. When you watch the ocean waves, especially, say, on a windy day on the North Shore of Maui, they're huge. And they have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so we can think of the wave as the historical dimension of the water. But the water that the wave is exists before, during, and after the wave. The ultimate dimension of the wave is water. Okay? The wave is always water, right? The wave comes and goes, the water always is. It's the ultimate dimension. So in the same way, this form right here, called Kathy Zavada, is the historical dimension of who I am. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But the ultimate dimension of who I am and who you are is consciousness, is energy that doesn't end when the body ends. Just like water doesn't end when the wave dissipates. You know, it changes form, yes. It dissolves back into the ocean, but it still exists. It's just gone from being a wave back into being water. So the teaching is really to help us not fear the end of form. You know, knowing the ultimate dimension is not born and does not die. And if we can deepen in contemplating that, then we can develop a healthier attitude towards death. I myself am really working on this. I really am working on this. I know the truth of this teaching. I know it deeply, but I am still working on my attachment to certain beloved forms, as probably most of us are. I'll share something very personal with you. One of the big challenges in my life right now is watching my mom age and hearing her say, on occasion, not that often, but once in a while she'll say she's ready to go. And she's not ill or anything, and she may stay years longer in her form, but I notice when I witness her aging process, I find sadness come up and heartache come up, and I feel the fear of loss that comes up in my emotions when I think of her leaving her body. You know, she's so dear to me, and I readily admit I am attached to her form. And so in Thay's passing, in his teaching of us all having a continuation body, it's really helped me to go deeper into realizing the truth and meeting the fear and embracing the sadness with compassion and with mindfulness. You know, if we could all be free of the fear of death, what a freedom that would be. You know, if we tell the truth, it's not easy aging. It's not easy facing the illnesses that these bodies go through. And our society tries to hide death. You know, our society does everything to just not have to think about it. But Thay wants us to make peace with the ending of the body and expand our view of death and even befriend it and lose the fear of it and realize it's not the end, that there is a continuation. Oh gosh, one of his most beautiful quotes is, he said, "I am a continuation like the rain is a continuation of the cloud." I am a continuation like the rain is the continuation of the cloud. I read on the Thich Nhat Hanh Facebook page this powerful teaching. If you really want to care for Thay's continuation body, the surest place to look for Thay is in your way of breathing. If you breathe in and out and you find peace, happiness, and fulfillment, you know that Thay is always with you. And when you walk from the parking lot to your office, if you feel joy, fulfillment, and happiness, Thay is always walking with you. You should wish Thay a happy, beautiful continuation body. And you are that body. You know, those we love who've left their earthly body continue when we remember the love of them, when we carry on their goodness, their teachings, and their light in our daily living. We can realize that they have merged with everything, with the all that is. You know, when we hear a singing bird or we see a beautiful sunset, we can feel that they are now part of that, not gone, just expanded out of one particular form. Many of Thay's students have been asking the monks and nuns from Plum Village how to honor Thay. And they responded by saying, we invite you to consider making a concrete commitment in your practice that you would like to offer as a gift to Thay. I have really taken this to heart, and so I've been really revisiting his teachings, and they are so helpful. You know, it could be simply walking each day for 10 minutes with your awareness on your breath. Breathing in, saying, I have arrived, and breathing out, saying, I am home. I have arrived, I am home. It could be envisioning planting lotuses as you walk from your house to your car. I like to walk to the compost and back, planting lotuses every so often. It could be following your breath and saying the verse, in, out, deep, slow, calm, ease, smile, release, present moment, wonderful moment. It could be waking up. I love the morning gata I shared with you, I think a few months back. Something I bring to mind as soon as I'm awake, before I let my mind start thinking of anything. I say this gata from Thich Nhat Hanh. Waking up this morning, I smile. 24 brand new hours are before me. I vow to live each moment fully and look upon all beings with eyes of compassion. It's a beautiful way to start the day. Or it could be saying to a friend, I am here for you. Or maybe saying, I know you suffer. I know you're suffering, and that's why I'm here for you. We are a continuation of this great spiritual master as we put into practice these teachings of mindfulness. So in closing, may Thay, may Thich Nhat Hanh live on in us, in our smile, in our compassion, in the peaceful way we walk and breathe. As Thay said, our own life has to be our message. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Thank you.
Om Mani Padme Hum. I love that. Thank you for such a beautiful talk, Kathleen.